Okay. There's a small piece that I didn't approach properly as well as I wanted to. Because I went off on that story about oil. There's the, oh, look at this is a feather that I've just received I've been on the beach cleaning, and this is just covered in oil. This is a white bird. It was very much like this feather, but just covered in oil. Okay. What I wanted to talk about. So I use the analogy of, not the analogy, the anecdote of my first experiencing watching pornography as a 12 or 13-year-old. There is the physical act of losing your virginity. As a woman is something I do not understand at all. So I cannot speak to it. Although I can strip away, pardon the pun, I can strip away some of the obscuring language, of the obscuring references, of the obscurement of the concept, to get to, and very much the same as I could tell the story of how I lost my virginity to an older woman being watched by lots of people. So it's I'm not too far removed from also, and then my life threatened, and my family being informed, and then the entire school being informed, and me being ridiculed and mocked. So I have a little bit of experience in this arena, I think, to talk about this. But no matter what, it is a really prominent thing, whether it happens, and we had films about this. We had American Pie. It was all about teenagers losing their virginity, because it's a big thing. And what I fear all of this is leading to, because basically the commoditization of women's virginity in a sexual marketplace is thousands of years old. Okay. It seems like we have had, and this is through this mainly American distribution of media, they've told a fairy tale whilst still do it, which is just muddied it even worse. And it's basically what there seems to be. I think there is an innate conflict between young women's exposure to sexual activity, and it is very different than young men's. And basically it is by its nature a bipolar onslaught of the senses. There is very strong hormonal, instinctual imperative to breed, let's just call it, to breed, and then at the same time, an astronomically large threat from that action, considering that, a ridiculously large portion of our historical breeding has included rape. And so that instinctual imperative, that biological, instilled in response system is the hallmark of this women's story of their visually displayed sexual behavior. And it's like that's very common in eccentricities to do with women. This happens quite a lot. There is this conflicted landscape. And I don't think individually men can understand it. Not even myself, but I'm not trying to understand it. I'm just mapping it out and I'm displaying the conflict. The conflict is, young women are exceptionally driven towards sexual action, sexual activity. But they are wrapped in a blanket of social projection that they aren't. And then there is also like they are attracted to the very archetypes that are going to cause them harm, which really does show you the reason that within my culture we had highly developed etiquette and cultural processes, ceremonial, courting rituals and things like that to deal with all of that. It's like enforced separation. It's enforced kind of division and rituals of valor and suspense and social integration. Just so many, and it's like there's an attempt by the global media world in films and television shows and to tell a story that the world is just changing, and this is the new version of those old things, despite the fact that the new version of those old things is not. It is the destruction of those old things leading to the inevitable exposure of the reason those things were established. But it's told as progression. It's not. It's social decline masked as progression. Eventually uncovering this historic tension between women's sexual activity. It's like women are terrible at selecting their highest level of mate based on the maintenance, the continuation of civilization. They will instinctively seek chaos in a suicidal fashion. So will men. And this is the thing. This is where it becomes. It's like civilization is a active. It's an active project. It is not passive. And this is things like lust, passion, even love. You know, in the modern display of what love is, love has been, and I hate the word love, which is it's an easy target to say, but I hate the word love because it is too overly used. It is too dull a word for the power that it is bestowed by the popular culture. And this is the things like love is love. And you know, for the LBGT, it's like, well, what is love? You know, and one of the analogies I use is like the person raping somebody loves doing that. They love it. You know what I mean? They're forcing their love on an unwitting participant. In my opinion, the government loves the concept of child support. It is forcing its concept onto me. It's raping the fuck out of my traditions, my culture, my customs to provide love. You know, it's going to say that. I'm going to end up in a conversation with a well-dressed woman in a high-paid government job saying that, do you not love your children? I've actually had this. This is you know, they have paid like people to basically make these accusations on a shifting fucking sand dune of societal norms. You know, all disguised with one fucking word that means love. Well, love isn't love, and love is a stupid word. It's a ridiculously oversimplified, overused, you know, cartoon word that has led to something that I can only describe as the antithesis to love, is this denial, this mass kind of, this mass disguising of the true reality, you know, the love bombing of the world. We all love each other. We all love each other. Love, 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 love. It's like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor loved young women. I love young women. Do you know what I mean? It's like to get right in the weeds. It's like, I love young women. My daughter's a young woman. And see, already, like if I was in a position of power, it's like the fucking, they're like, oh, he said this, fucking do this. It's like my display, and this is stereotypical display of a father, you know, loving his daughter, is to limit her exposure to an oversaturated, love-filled fucking world, to provide her with order, all under the umbrella of a stupid fucking word that does it. If it means all these things, it stops being powerful. You know, I've no doubt that it's like the families gathering around young virgins who had taken the fancy of a prince, would describe this love. They would tell this fairy tale of love. Oh, he loves you. He's in love. This is love. Love is scary. It's frightening. You know, do you love your family? You're going to provide your family with all these things. This is the reality for millions and millions of young girls all across the world. You know, and in most cases, that doesn't involve a grand fairy tale with a prince. It might involve, you know, rubbing the back of an old man to bring the love, the fruit of his love home to feed your family. You know, we live in a very muddled world. It's got layers and levels of camouflage on it. And so it's really important how we display this world. Right, we can't smush it all down flat and even and roll it with a steamroller and you know what I mean, pave over it and get to solid ground. It's like it's not what it's about. We've got to have these discussions at a far higher level, and anyone that is attempting to stand in the middle of these discussions and to perpetuate, you know, a clear catastrophe, clearly catastrophic management protocol, they're criminals. They are criminals. There is like a rampancy to expose every man, woman, and child across the entire world to a bombardment of sexualized, you know, normalcy, like just this, and it's like that's, if you get to, it's like every man loves sex. Well, not every man, but most men, they love sex. They love seeing it, watching it, thinking about it. But sex isn't love. And this is the thing. It's like 1,000 ways. You know, it's like and it's being sliced up to tell a feminist fairy tale that isn't doing it. It's not going and repairing the damage it's causing around the world. You know, I loved my children's mother. That love changed throughout the time. I still love her. I don't love her the same way as I did when we made our children. I love that she provided me with my children. It wasn't a failure of love that led to us separating. It is a failure of love that led to my children being removed from me. But it doesn't get anywhere. It's like there's no stability, and based on a 4-letter word that means too many things to hold that much weight, especially that much legal weight. It really does appear to me like our judicial system, our parliamentary system, our societal reinforcement is reinforcing a dangerously reckless over concentration of a narrative of love from a cohort of women that have clearly been victimized by the overuse of that word. My mother's influence over the whole situation is caused by some candle burning love that she feels for her first husband, and it's like, it just this the hippies, the love thing, it doesn't work. It's lazy. It's not love. It's laziness. And to overuse one, it's like cool. Oh, cool, 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 cool. Oh, that's cool, cool. One fucking word. That's the hallmark of these hippies, of this boomer generation. They still all do it. You can, all of them. They'll have a word. They'll just, oh, cool. Oh, love. It's all about love, man. The Beatles said that. All you need is love. Bullshit. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, according to global record sales, the Beatles are the highest selling, English artists in the thing, roughly the same age as the former Duke of York. They said all you need is love, and everybody agreed with their money. They bought the CDs, they play it non-stop, celebrate their concerts. All you need is love, and that's all Andrew went and got. Tons of love. He loved it. He loved every fucking minute of it. You can break it down to like, well, the women didn't love it. It's like, well, they loved spending the fucking money. I can guarantee you. They loved the status, the secrecy, the little, I had sex with Prince Andrew. For everyone that's sitting there claiming that this is the Watergate, it's like there's probably 1,000 sitting there, I fucked a prince, And it's like, I didn't write the rules. I'm not a woman. I don't write the social fucking, hierarchy of gossip and fucking and women's status. I don't write that. I've seen it. I've seen it in far lower classes than the royal family. I've experienced it. I've been in bed with women who are sitting there and bragging about, some slightly other version of a popular young man at the time. It's like, that's what women do. I heard there's this place you go to, and if you, line up there, they will give you $2,000 to suck off the fucking Prince, the Duke of York. And the call from all the women across the world is that they're basically dragging these women out of their school uniforms and shoving them in buses in blindfolds while the prince fucking rapes them on the floor of a fucking alleyway. That's not what fucking was happening. But that is happening in other places. The moment of sexual, the first few, fleeting moments of sexual activity for a woman, I'm sure is a mixture of exhilaration and absolute fucking blood-drenching fucking terror. It's not too different as a man, but just turn the volume up and you probably get to something near. That's a pretty good assumption, I'd say. Pretty safe assumption. If it's put through the lens and reinforced, 24/7 in the global media, that this is something to be. This is, you've been victimized. You've been victimized by a man. It's like that is. It is a how can I word this? It's the reinforcement of that is a crime. You know what I mean? It's utopianist gaslighting. And it doesn't make any sense. It's like the ultra, liberated women will sit there and claim you should go, you should, play the field, right? Yeah, you should play the field. You should profiteer if possible. You're a sexual entrepreneur. You're all these things. But it is always, you're always a victim. Now that can only be being, masterminded by lesbians. It's the only possible solution to that equation, because it doesn't make sense. It's like the woman who's been reinforced into sexual liberation, who dolls herself up like everyone else, who drinks to excess like everyone else, who recklessly, displays her affection to whoever like everyone else, who jumps from man to man like everyone else, who does all these things, they're not a victim. They're a role model. They're a pioneer of women's liberation, despite the fact that they're encountering all the same core traumatic experiences. They're being reinforced into the fact that no, you chose to, honey. You did it, like you did it. You own this. You own this. Creates a conflict to a portion of women who aren't allowed. They're not allowed to say, I didn't like that. I would have wanted to marry a single man or do this thing. No. Oh, what are you? An old-fashioned, like, trad wife or anything? They're ripped to pieces by other women. And then it's the same. It's like, so all they've done is flip it. The women that used to say to the young women, go off with that wealthy man and, try your luck to land him as a husband, okay? That's been commoditized and dragged through a exploitive sexual trafficking model in Epstein's case. But that was reinforced by the women, because it would bring, it's like they were the free agents sent out by the village to go and, bag a king or bag a prince or bag a businessman or whatever. So women are conflicted now because the whole arena, the whole spectrum of women's sexual activity is completely under attack by women's judgment, by women's absolute certain statements of victimization and of abuse and these concepts. But who else's job is it to who else but collectively women? Who else's job is it to regulate what is a appropriate and uniformly beneficial norm for women to both initiate themselves and to act within the act of sexual exploration? So it's like we're in a women-centric version where they're hyper-fixating. And I've seen this. This is what all the shrinks got caught out doing. All the psychiatrists got caught doing. They amplify a traumatic experience. But it's like, so women went from, oh, that prince or that man, like he's got lots of money. You are so lucky. Oh my God, this. Now the woman still maybe has conflicted feelings. She's like, oh, I don't know. I'll do this right thing. That's just a constant. So women have always, in my massive assumption and like my guarantee almost, young women forever and ever and ever have been having sex, you know, in lots of different conditions and ways, but even in the ideal have been conflicted about that. They've been conflicted on whether they should have done. I think that is actually just a absolute integrated concept of being a woman. It makes up a huge amount of, you know, in lots of different ways, of what women actually think and talk about. And judge each other on and do all these things. So like this is and it's like I'm already too far behind enemy lines to be doing this, but it's like, well, the women aren't doing it. The women are attempting to mass militarize their sexual activity, you know, their constant of indecision of their already completed deeds, and turn it into a fucking witch hunt of wealthy, rich men, which is just what they've been doing anyway since the women's liberation, divorce, you know, movement. But the problem is like they've strip mined all the established men. And it's like learned helplessness, because they're imitating the successful women of the recent past. You go and do the things, you ride the pony at the fucking pony show, at the royal show, you ride the fucking pony, you know what I mean? You have all the fun and then you regret it, you change your mind, it wasn't good, you play fucking helpless victim, you know, learned helplessness, like you are just you are just a fragile little girl, despite the fact that you're going out, you know, all of them are going out, you know, dressed as prostitutes and drinking to oblivion and doing drugs and dancing all night to fucking hypnotic fucking shit. So it's a marketplace of female extraction. It's a learned behavior that can only be regulated and checked by the peers, by the elders, by the elder women of the society. But the only way we're going to get to that position is if they admit that they did something wrong, which I have never seen. I have never seen that. It's like a thylacine. I've never seen one individual woman do that, let alone like a huge majority of the global population of elitist women getting together and voluntarily saying, we fucked this shit up. Do not do what we did. They will never. They will never unless there is a pressure. And this is like what's happening to the men of these elite circles that are being pressured into admitting this thing. So we have a global obsession with elite wealthy men that were paying for sex, you know, and going on around us all over the place is now non-elite men paying for sex. Claiming superiority over, oh, I knew he was a scoundrel. I knew he was a scoundrel. It's like, what the fuck is going on? These women are being re-traumatized. They're being lured in by women, normalized into you know, an act, you know, bolstered on the legitimacy of that act and on the normalcy of that, you know, and of the wonder of the liberation of that act, and now en masse being re-traumatized on the potential act to fit a new narrative of the women's mass movement of learned helplessness. It's like all you need to do is like look at the distribution of media, especially promotional media, even if it's not officially promotional, but promotional media of sexual, debauchery, sexual whatever. It's like this is the hallmark of the last 20 years of media and women. This is Paris Hilton. This is Kim Kardashian. There's no doubt about it. And it's like, who are the women that get plowed over in that? The women who are doing anything else, like anything, absolutely anything else. And it's the same with me. It's like all men are being dragged through the mud of these elites who is like, and then I think most significantly, the most, these powerful women who aren't conforming to that radical experiment of learned helplessness, sexual liberation, extractive women's. It's like they think of like Rio Tinto BHP. It's like that's what these Kim Kardashian model is. All they need to do is own the law firms that go after the men. They're mining companies. With these algorithms and AI and GPS tracking and digital dating apps, it's like, I'm here because of a dating app. I don't, I need to see some evidence the whole way back. I don't trust any of this shit. This is an extraction industry. This is a global fucking mining enterprise, more than likely masterminded in Ukraine or fucking Russia or, Middle East. I don't know. Anywhere that doesn't consent to their women acting as whores, that doesn't celebrate their women, acting as whores, that isn't attempting to re-traumatize women into their action that would have only been described as being whores, but now isn't allowed to be described as being whores, but now they need to be shamed nonetheless. They need to be re-traumatized, and they're now victims. It's just the same. It's like being a whore is a victim. Being called a whore, you're being a victim of abuse. It's like then being called a victim, you're a victim of victimization by other women that are trying to, prominently display. And this is, I just watched a thing about an American heiress that married the Earl of Sandwich, and described it that she was a young teenager going into this thing. She was celebrated. It's like, that's the model. You can't cherry pick out certain aspects. It goes all the way from there, all the way from the heiress marrying the aristocracy in London, all the way down to the Filipino fucking, young girl, schoolgirl that's being fucking forcibly raped and filmed, and the films are being distributed to fucking online, fucking disgusting, fucking predatory perverts. And sloshed through that digital finance. It's like it's all over. There is no. It's yeah. Funnily enough, it's like the salvation is older men. It's the salvation. It's like there's a taboo with what I'm doing because it's like this feminist thing. It's like I'm not defending women, not old women. Not at all. I'm exposing their mistakes, and I'm exposing the fact that, in my experience, they will never, ever admit to them. And I'm protecting younger women, but then unable to do that in the natural way. So I have to do it in this way. I have to do it en masse. But the only solution is we need to re-normalize chivalry, and a caring archetype of older man, responsible gentleman archetype. And then reintroduce, which ends up being a matchmaking service, which is what Epstein was doing. You know what I mean? And it's like, we've got to get, do we have a landscape here of cherry-picked victims victims, they are victims. If they class themselves as a victim, but they're more than likely a victim of their own bad decisions, of enlistment by their peers or by a higher level woman, in the case of Ghislaine Maxwell. And their own thing. It's like they're not on a crusade to bring it down, because it's like, what was the percentage? How many marriages were started by the Epstein project? Successful, responsible, like whatever. And even worse, it's like, if the answer is none, then it's like, who's to blame for that? The culture that reinforced the sexual liberation. Because that's, if you are a responsible man who wants to take care of a younger woman and you have resources and do these things, you don't want her, continuing on her ways. That's where the elite status of this network came in. And then there's so much reinforcement at such a young age that you could argue it's like, you've got to get them young before they've been exposed to the radical fucking feminist, debaucherous, cultural world. These aren't the conversations that are taking place. They're not this. It's an absolute. It's a mud fight. It is a mud-slinging, fucking shit-slinging bullshit fest that is obscuring all the core foundational principles of courtship and matchmaking and marital, like partially arranged, what's the word? Contrived marriages, not arranged, it's like contrived marriages. Marriage is just, what about, and that's actually just that's what courting is in an open society. It's like, what's she doing? That's how Facebook made its millions, billions, trillions. It's a courtship app. It's what it started as. It was a courtship app in elite universities. Who's this? What are they seeing anyone? Is this who are they there? It's never been more difficult. Like, we're stuck in this experiment of women's liberation, and it's a failure. And my most worrying thing is that it hangs on the fact that we need a very significant portion of women to voluntarily admit their mistakes and collectively hand back some of the freedoms and rights that they've been given, which they have only used to bulldoze our traditions and enslave and rape, led to the rape. Well, in an escalator. It's like a lot of these Epstein cases are 20 years old. It's like, look what happened to, think of like Punk'd with Ashton Kutcher. Right? Early internet age, internet things like Punk'd. You got punked by Ashton Kutcher, and then like now we've got like global fucking sex traffickers and con artists like in the same realm distributed. So yeah, you can guarantee it's like the it's just all bad. And I do think it is outside women's traditional instincts to have such a large correction as this. It's in fact, it's against all of your instincts. Women don't make large corrections like this. They especially don't make them en masse. They can't, because they have an imperative to care for themselves, and they're young and they are vulnerable in the traditional sense. So all their instincts are aligned to not make radical corrections. I've seen this over and over and over again. It's like they just won't. They will stay with this. They'll say in the safe, in the safe light lit street, despite the fact that could be the most dangerous place to be. And this is again the archetype of like, that's a predator. The man that that lures the woman away from the well lit party into the dark is is a predator, despite the fact that the party is filled with fucking, rapists and lunatics and saboteurs of civilization. It's like, that's not the framing of the overall society. But inevitably, a well-spoken gentlemen on the periphery, with that exact intent, are going to overwhelm this out of control fucking misogynist fucking rapist, bottom of the barrel status quo that is being projected as the norm. And so, it's always, I could be I could be Casanova, William Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet level, infatuated with a young woman. Perhaps a young woman who hasn't had sex is like, it's still going to be the same advice, whether I'm, have the best intentions of long marriage and care and all these things. Don't be frightened. It's okay. It's not much different. Coming from a person in the act of rape or something like that. And it's probably not much different, especially you can only have one or the other. This is the main thing. This is impossible for young people. This is the 2 cookie experiment done on children. It's like, and this is, if we're calling it pedophilia, then they are children. So we can use models that are used to display, behavioral acts of children in the form of 2 cookies. Would you like to wait and have 2 cookies, or would you like to have a cookie now? And that's a well-known scientific experiment that's done on children. And the majority of them take the cookie and they don't take the 2 cookies. It's called cookie or nookie or whatever it is. It's sex. It's reinforced by the other women. Oh, don't worry, sex is sex. Don't worry. You just go, it's only your first. Just get it under your belt. It's the same thing. But then once it's gone, it's gone. You lose the fantasy. But I can guarantee it's like so you will never know. You will either have the experience of the well-meaning, beautiful, slow and steady, like romantic, Wuthering Heights fucking loss of virginity, or you will, be paid to have sex with an old fucking businessman, and you will never know what the other would be like. It will never match it again. You will carry the guilt and shame of one into the other always, and that will pollute, and that will instinctively be known by the man. And it's just these are things that we used to know how to more subtly and more beautifully and more romantically display to young women, so that they're adequately educated to the true reality of the world, and that's a lot to get into a young woman's head. It's a lot of responsibility and a lifelong, it can have a lifelong lasting effect on a bad decision on those first few encounters. It's It could be argued as well. It's like the misogynist, hypersexual man, parade of horniness. That's always been there, and that is a deterrent to women. It's a natural deterrent. The men think it's not, but it is. But the women are supposed to deter them as well, but they're not. They're not. They're encouraging them. It's and the way that this narrative is forming, like they're discouraging them away from decisions that would be good. It's like all they see is the Epstein paying and the Duke of York paying, and this thing. But it's like, well, what if that, what if they're just taking him out to dinner? They're still going to put it through the same lens. Oh, they're paying, which is just lowering the standards of women. They should expect to be paid, in the form of dinner or entertainment or all these things. That was That was what it was. When I suppose when you're a ridiculously hypersexual, horny fucking Duke, it's like he was speed dating. Not to put a tick of approval on it, but he's speed dating, and like, you know. But now it's like, well, if you should feel shame and you've been victimized if someone pays you to have sex, well, that's the same. If someone pays for dinner, and this is the thing again. I split the dinner. Okay, well then what is your long-term intentions? And most of this takes place because of the ultra-urban like lifestyle, where you are supposed to be constantly doing things. And so the concept of constantly sharing costs is a prerequisite to a stable relationship in a over material, over commercialized, over experiential world that constantly requires, you know, purchase. This isn't where we come from. It's the big purchase. It's the roof, really. The roof over your head. These things are being squeezed through political fucking, you know, minces. And they're all being obscured. It's like the roof over your head, darling. The roof over your head. This isn't some misogynistic, you know, ultra controlling parental or husband like phrase. It is literal, the roof over your head. You want to squeeze that roof through a 30-year commitment in indebted servitude, you know, in a decreasing marketplace for your sexual and marital potential. Then the same phrase still applies. Why would you do that when there's a roof over your head? And then it's like in the fog of sexual liberation of partying and, you know, night clubbing and fucking electronic dance music, DJs, lights, fucking, you know, Netflix thing. It's like that just starts sounding like, you know, old-fashioned, grumpy old dad. And it's like, well, yeah, fuck. But that used to be respected. Why isn't it respected? Well, because the grumpy old dad figure of Duke of York was paying women to have sex with him. You know, I wish there was enough cashed up fucking, you know, beautiful fucking lesbians to adopt all the little lost girls out there in fucking Kim Kardashian's world. Fucking let them sleep in their fucking spare room while they learn, you know, while they finish their fucking university degree on economics or sustainable development or interactive global trade or anything. But they're not. That's not what's happening. It's just tear it down. Tear down the roof. So we're all in a fucking tent in the street. Until we're all in tent on the street, fucking, you know what I mean, washing our cunt out with a fucking bucket, getting jizzed in by the fucking traveling fucking tourists, then none of us are free. And that's unfortunately the truth of this feminist global fucking onslaught. That is where it ends. They will not take responsibility for their influence on a global sphere, but they demand an increase and a subservience to their demands on a global scale. So that's a fucking winnable war based on women. So we've never attacked our own women. You know, not militarily. What the fuck does that even look like? When you think about it, it's like, that's where we're at. That's actually where we've been at for 40 years. It's the most dystopian thing you can imagine. Our women have militarily aligned opposite us and are attacking us. And the only thing that will fix that is military retaliation, something that is completely, probably the most taboo thing you could ever talk about. But if we are going to succeed, it's like we need to do it diplomatically. We need to make sure that all things are. We are militarily acting in defense of our own women because they have militarized against us. It's time for the women to start rocking up on the other side. When this isn't a guerrilla warfare or a trench war or a naval fucking bombardment or a psychological war or a chemical war. This is a lined up field war. And so you will line your armies up on the opposite side of this field that you claim to play. You're playing the field, we'll line your armies up on the fucking other side of it right now. Choose your colors, choose your banners, play your drums, and line your army up on the opposite side of this field. Or leave the field and surrender and retreat back to an appropriate historical precedent. That's all we ask. You wanted women's equality. Well, the inevitability of that is this. It's a battlefield, a field of war where women are lined up against men, and that never happens. It just sits in perpetual anticipation, which women love. So they'll squeeze every drop of fucking juice out of that anticipatory fucking conflict en masse. They do it individually. It takes a womanizer to kind of know these things. So it takes a womanizer playing a woman to materialize collectively what these women are doing for nothing more than to get the anticipatory rush of a sexually fucking fueled violent conflict. You can take that to the fucking bank. Oh, look, Roger Cookerman's here. What is reinforced trauma? Is it making YouTube videos all day? Is it the trauma of leaving Siobhan dirty dishes? Oh, man. I'm going to sketch out what would happen if this Roger Cookerman was here right now, sitting across from me, because that's what it appears like. I'm talking to a laptop on a fucking thing. His name is there. He doesn't exist, but I'm imagining him as a person who's just mentioned dishes in the sink of my partner's fucking name. If you were a real living human boy or man or fucking whatever across from me, I would stroll behind myself where there is the dishes on the sink. I would grab one of the bowls and I would fucking shove it in your mouth and break every one of your fucking teeth. And then I would beat you to oblivion in a pool of blood. And then I would cut your fucking head off and lift it to the fucking top of the fucking tower in the middle of the city. And I would claim that if ever this pandering feminist fucking scum ever dares to fucking lift itself above the fucking mud again and claim to fucking say one thing like this to any member of my fucking peers, that they should be fucking dispatched immediately in the fucking street. You are fucking scum. You are the lowest fucking possible scum there could ever be. Whether you're here just to aggravate me in a theatrical way or whether you're here fucking with the true intent of bringing this, you are scum. And do not ever fucking forget it.